Chicago, Brooklyn, let your fro show. Jared Allen throwing it out.
Power.
There is power in that.
Yes,
It's
it is.
Power dunks.
You stay in the lane, you do what you do, and they share, and then when in doubt, you come rotate, you say, get that shot out of here.
Becoming one of the elite shot blockers in the league. 19 points, 6 rebounds, and those 2 blocks for Jared Allen.
I love it.
That opened the court for these 2 guys. D'Angelo Russell finding Damari Carroll, who finds Russell back.
Yeah, but how about that Brooklyn bench? 52-29 advantage.
Absolutely. Carroll
Share,
adding
share.
to that. 20 points in the game. It's still kind of a close one. And then when it's closing time, Shabazz Napier, he's got game for that.
Yes, he does.
18 points. But leading the way, a guy you've seen already, D'Angelo Russell, the lefty.
I think he's maybe starting to figure it out, Coach.
Well, he started to figure out when Dinwiddie came off the bench and was playing as well as Dinwiddie was playing. He said, I better get my act going.
There you go.
You see the 28, that's an average night for Russell recently. Last 4 games, averaging 27 a night. Orlando and the LA Clippers. When pushing the rock, you find that guy, Aaron Gordon. I mean, he's in movies for his ability to dunk, right?
Well, you got to play good half-court defense, get out and run, and DJ, that's pretty smart of you.
Yeah, well, maybe when you're that close to the rim, the shot will go down. But that's not the case for Orlando. They were horrendous shooting the basketball.
Well, these high percentage shots, I guess we're seeing all their makes are.
Was the big-time block by Obama. Get that shot out of here.
Clippers down by 8, but cool, calm, collected. That's how you describe Tobias Harris. That's how you describe Danilo Gallinari.
Doc Rivers has done a pretty good job with those 2 forwards, playing one of them as a center sometime during the course of the game.
19-4, Clippers run.
Point
Then
center.
Aaron Gordon.
Point center, Vucevic with the perfect pass.
That's how you get some energy back into your team if you're Orlando. But in the second half, that energy gone. Tobias taking the air out of the balloon. Then Montrezl Harrell.
Energy on top of energy on top of energy.
Get low to get high.
The 4 blue jerseys sitting there, watch Harold go up and finish it off with 2 hands.
Love watching him play.
Ahead by 9, it's a luxury to have a guy like Lou Will. Keep the foot on the gas. 15-point lead turns to a 17-point lead. Clippers roll easily, 106-96, led by Tobias Harris with a game-high 28. Miami and Atlanta, and the Hawks, they can take flight. Dwayne Wade, though, when he makes a pass like this, might be play of the year.
Oh!
Derrick Jones.
Man.
It's a luxury to have a guy like that. Also, Vince Carter. 3D, is he older than you? I think so.
Almost. He's only about 48. He's still getting it done, though.
Vince and Jeremy Lin coming off the bench killed Miami.
Hawks scored 41 points in the third quarter. Trae Young finding his range in rhythm, 3 for 3 from three-point range, 19 points for Trae.
How about Miami cannot beat the Atlanta Hawks? Hawks 3-0 versus Miami.
And Miami came into this one hot. They had won 8 of their last 10.
Playing well.
But as you see, this was all Hawks all the time. Lynn, 11 points in the final 3 minutes of that third quarter, and then Vince Carter finishing out the game. Oh, how about that? Dwayne Wade still making his farewell tour and exchanging jerseys. Trae Young's going to appreciate that.
Yep, he'll show it to the family back in the day. He said, the Hall of Famer, D. Wade, gave me some time.
Young, a lottery pick in this year's draft, but how about the top pick, DeAndre Ayton? Get out of his way.
Ooh.
Did Charlotte get the win, though?
He's been in the weight room.
Okay, so Karl Anthony Towns, 28 points in each of his last 7 games, but breaking news from Minnesota. Tom Thibodeau has been fired as the head coach. This, according to Adrian Wojnarowski and Shams Charania, both Yahoo and ESPN reporting that Tom Thibodeau is out as the head coach the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And president too, right? I mean, he was the president too, coach. So when you get fired, you lose both of those jobs, right?
I think you lose both of them.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think you fire the coach and not fire the president, right? Because he was the president making the decisions for the coach.
Well,
Right, Tom, for that?
That could happen. You could fire somebody as a coach and keep him in the front office.
Right, okay.
Okay, like
So
Urban Meyer leaves Ohio State, but he's going to be around. Some
President and coach, he's out as both.
Yeah, it's both.
So
That's
3D,
official. Okay. Ooh.
looking at the situation in Minnesota, why now?
Well, I guess, Glenn Taylor is the owner who sat down with his group and said, doesn't like the way things are going. The Jimmy Butler situation wasn't great. If you go back and look, and people say the Houston trade was probably better because there was more, picks there. So maybe they sit down and said, let's pull the trigger now before the All-Star break, before the trade deadline, if there's more moves to be made, Coach.
I look at it as because of their last stretch of 8 games, 5-3, brings them back into the playoff race. They're 2 games out of that 8th spot in the Western Conference. And you just got done saying how great Karl-Anthony Towns has been playing. Karl-Anthony Towns has a direct line to the owner of the team. That's how his contract got done over again. That wasn't a president making that move. That was the owner saying that. So maybe Karl-Anthony Towns knows more than we do about what was going on in that situation. Perhaps that's the reason why we see a rejuvenated Karl-Anthony Towns over the last 8 games. That's just speculation.
Well, again, this is reported right now. This is not official from the Minnesota Timberwolves, but if this is the case, you still have a team fighting for a playoff spot. What do they do now? How hard is it to find a head coach in the middle of a season?
I doubt that you make a move like that without knowing what direction you're heading in before.
Right.
Is it someone that's sitting out? And there are a number of recent head coaches that were fired that are sitting around, okay, that they might turn to. Or is there somebody within the organization that they have tremendous confidence in, that the players have shown the backing for that person, and that's who you turn to try and finish out, just like happened as Tyronn Lue took over in Cleveland and wound up finishing that season and was given the job full-time after that.
Yeah, in most cases, Chris, you stay within because one of those, if not all of those assistants collectively can continue to preach the system versus bringing a brand new coach in now and trying to, like to your point, last 8 games, Catman is rolling. So for a brand new coach to come in, now he has to either know the system what they've been playing to kind of keep things going that way, or to your point, Coach, you're going to the top assistant you have in there. Maybe think Ed Pinckney, I think, is their top assistant right now.
I was just going to say.
He's been around a long time, and maybe it's an opportunity.
Ed Pinckney's been around a long time, has talked to a number of teams about possibly becoming their head coach. He's been by Thibodeau's side for a long, long time, and he's kind of been the go-between between players and coaching staff. Why not give him a chance? If
I think he deserves
it.
I think he deserves it. So it's be interesting.
So apparently Ryan Saunders is reportedly going to fill in on an interim basis as the coach there in Minnesota. So when you hear that name, what's the first thing you think about, Coach?
Think of his father, Flip.
Yep.
Okay? This young man grew up in a basketball household, and everyone who has worked with him has nothing but really good things to say about Ryan. So if that's the direction they're going in, he's going to work. He knows the game of basketball, and he obviously must be able to relate to the players because of the positions they've put him in within the organization. So if he's getting that shot, you wish him well, and we'll see the job he can do.
Ryan's been around from day one, to your point, Coach, as a kid. The one short year I was there, he's always been one of those kind of kids that's related to the players. He's been with the organization. He knows where all the, as they say, where all the bodies are buried, so to speak. So I think he can fit in right away. And I think Cat and Wiggs and all those young guys are there now. I think they would accept it as well.
More on this situation as it progresses. So we see Tom Thibodeau reportedly out as the head coach there in Minnesota. And also out of Minnesota, Tom Thibodeau reportedly out as the president and head coach of the Timberwolves. According to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Ryan Saunders looks like he's in the running to step in as the interim head coach. What do you think of that decision, 3D?
I like it a lot. Obviously, his dad kind of setting the way for him and being around the franchise pretty much his whole life. And I think Coach being young and understanding what Cat and Wig and this young team's about. Derrick Rose is having a phenomenal year, comeback year, so to speak. He's been a part of that movement, working out with him on days off. So the question for me, Coach, is what advice can he reach out to someone like yourself to help him with in-game coaching decisions, things of that nature? But being able to relate to the players, knowing the system, I think he's ready for it.
First of all, we have to realize that they fired one of the top 5 coaches, in my opinion, in the NBA. Tom Thibodeau is a teacher. He's a game coach. He wins basketball games. So to make that decision, something was going on that we obviously don't know right now. The relationship with Saunders and the owner is the father connection. Flip Saunders was a very, very loyal person to the owner. And the owner, I think, always appreciated it, will never forget some of the things that Flip did for him along the way. I know this, Flip made him an awful lot of money at one point on one major decision that he had to make. And the owner, I don't ever think is going to forget that.
Right.
And as a result, he's seen his son pay the dues. He respects what the son has done, respects the son and father, and therefore he's given him a chance.
Well, according to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, their source on Ryan Saunders being who Glenn Taylor wants as the head coach long term. So he's hoping that he can earn that spot. But we also have reports from multiple sources that Fred Hoiberg is in consideration for either the GM or the head coaching spot. So we're hearing 2 names out there. It's interesting because Fred Hoiberg was in Chicago following Tom Thibodeau, now could possibly follow him in Minnesota.
And they have Scott Layden still, I believe,
Yeah, Scott Layden's
still
be the GM.
there. And Scott Layden gets along with everyone.
Yes.
Remember his pedigree, his background, coming out of that San Antonio program, a lot of people were after Scott Layden. So I think I hope Scott Layden's given a chance. If they bring Hoiberg in, can Layden and Hoiberg work together in the front office? That'd be something to look at.
Certainly a situation that is just now developing in Minnesota. But as we see this, you see Tom Thibodeau, like you say, a great coach in the league. Why make this move now at this point in the season?
Well, obviously, we don't know exactly what's going on behind closed doors, but to Coach's point earlier, the way our league is going, Cat has a direct line to the ownership. We know Wiggs just signed his new contract. Most of us around the NBA were saying to ourselves, what's taking this team so long to be further along when you look at Denver and other young teams who are winning and playing top-notch basketball? Lately, they're 5-3, they're playing good. Cat's playing out of his mind. Maybe they wanted to pull the trigger now, Coach, to get ready for maybe some more trades possibly before February.
Certainly an interesting situation that we will keep you updated on as the night progresses.